Hello, everyone. A very logical day to all of you. And yes, a very logical month ahead to all of you. So, a new month begins, and there should be a little addition to something that you are already doing in your preparation. So, try coming up with the reading of one more article, right? So that you will be able to understand that no matter how much time you're giving, whether it is 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or 2 hours to your reading, in that span of time only try adding one more article to it, right? 2-3 दिन लगेंगे ये सब सोचने में कि आपका टाइम फिक्स रखना है, पर आपको उसमें एक और आर्टिकल पढ़ने का है, right? That is it. That means you will be able to improve on your speed or keep a track of it, that you are improving in your reading skills, your speed of reading, a speed enhancement, right? So make this a point for this month. Then next month we'll come up with a new resolution. So the first editorial here, the growing pains. The नहीं है, but growing pains है. Let's see what we are into doing. We'll come up with the reading, as you know, then we'll come up with the discussion of the main ideas. But this is what I'm going to do simultaneously. So then I'll give the main idea in the end, and then we'll be discussing the difficult words in this article. So on Tuesday, the National Statistical Office, that is NSO, released the second advance estimates of national income for the ongoing financial year. Ongoing means something that is going on. Now, these latest estimates have pegged the Indian economy to grow at 7% in 22-23, in line with the Statistical Office earlier figures released in January. Now, you have done this word pegged many times whenever we spoke about this data, this economical data and economic data, and it was like to hold something in position. This we have discussed almost 15 to 20 days back. So this word appearing again in the passage in the article means it is a revision for you. And if you remember the meaning, it's very good. If not, you can just refer to your notebook. So in line with the Statistical Office's earlier figures released in January, alongside the NSO has also released its quarterly estimates, as per which the economy grew at 4.4% in the third quarter of this year, that is October to December. Now, based on these numbers, growth for the fourth year of this financial year is expected to be around 5.1%. Taken together, these estimates suggest that as the base effect fades, the Indian economy is likely to grow at 4.7% in the second half of this year, down from 9.5% in the first half disaggregated data. First half. The disaggregated data paints a more mixed picture. The agricultural sector is expected to continue to grow at a healthy pace. Disaggregated का मतलब होता है अलग अलग कर दिया उसको, ठीक है? Disaggregated मतलब segregated. Now, they are talking about the agricultural sector. It continued to grow. That means this sector grew at a healthy pace. Now, in the third quarter, with growth for the full year projected at 3.3%, fine. This is doing good. This projection assumes. The moment the author uses the word assumes, इसका मतलब उसने कुछ मान लिया है, taken for granted. तो उन्होंने डेटा तो दे दिया 3.7% तक चल रहा है, 3.3 ओवरऑल हो जाएगा, लेकिन किस कंडीशन में? When there is a bumper rabi crop and there is no damage from rising temperatures. अगर ऐसा कंडीशन रहेगा तो ही 3.7 या 3.3% तक पहुंचेगा growth, right? So these pointers are the major ideas in the paragraph. This I had underlined. Financial year is 5.5%. Disaggregated data paints a more mixed picture. Agricultural growth will be good, providing that there is a bumper rabi crop and there is no damage from rising temperature. Now the effects of the latter would mean the rising temperature. अगर temperature जो बढ़ता है, right? It will be known only at the time of harvesting. So you can't predict anything right now. On the other hand, the performance of the manufacturing sector has been rather dismal. So when he uses the word on the other hand, that means if the this agricultural sector was improving, this is dismal. Dismal means something that is not according to your choice. Not choice actually, that means whether you approve of it or not, whether it is as good as you expected or no. So that is dismal, a loss of hope वाला. मतलब इतनी अच्छी कंडीशंस नहीं है, मिजरेबल जैसा है. बिल्कुल मिजरेबल भी नहीं. but there is no hope now. So for the full year, the sector is expected to barely register a rise. Okay, so this dismal word, it reflects in the word, in the use of the word barely. So they would barely register a rise. In fact, in both the second and the third quarters of the year, value added by the sector has actually contracted. ठीक है, तभी वो dismal बोलेंगे. और दूसरी बात है, rather का use हम समझते हैं कि rather comes up with a negative connotation. So this manufacturing sector has been rather dismal. There's barely register a rise, and then it has actually contracted. So you have three words to show that this sector is declining in the terms of numbers. Some analysts have attributed this to higher input costs, putting firm margins under pressure. The services sector has fared better. Now it is coming up with a third service. So, पहला था agricultural sector, which was growing well at a healthy pace. Second was the manufacturing sector, which was in a dismal condition. Third is the services sector, which has fared better as demand continues to normalize. Both the trade, hotels, transport and communication, and the financial, real estate, and professional service sectors have continued to register healthy growth rates. Investment activity also appears to have held up in the third quarter, but the consumption side of the data paints a worrying picture. देखो फिर से उसने बट दे दिया, यहाँ पर भी उसने on the other hand दिया था, तो it gave the other side there. Here also, when the services sector is improving, it is coming up with the consumption side of the data, which is a worrying picture. With both private and government consumption being subdued. Subdued is like declining. Government consumption in the third quarter was actually lower than in the same period last year, while growth in private consumption has slowed down sharply. This is at odds with the most analysts' expectations of household demand perking up during the festive season. That means earlier, what was the expectation of the analysts? That it should perk up, it should increase. But then this is not happening, it is declining. And therefore, it said that it is at odds with. तो at odds with होना मतलब conflict में होना, contradict करना, opposite बोलना. Here, so this was the way manufacturing sector is rather dismal, services sector has fared better, and the rest was a description of that. Faring better, and then there was a consumption side of the data. It paints a worrying picture. ये भी हो सकता है. Now, the NSO's first advance estimates released in January were based on data on economic indicators only for the first 7 to 8 months of the year. The latest estimates have been able to incorporate more recent data into the assessment process. पहले वाले data से 6-7 months हुए थे. अभी जो data दिया है, that is on, it has used, incorporated means used in its corpus. Corpus is the body, the authority. So more recent data into the assessment process, but while the numbers have been affected by revisions to previous data, the estimates are broadly in line with the government's and the Reserve Bank of India's expectations. इसका मतलब in line with है. So for the upcoming financial year, the RBI has projected economic growth to slow down to 6.4%. But considering the extent of tightening of the monetary policy, both globally and domestically, there are downside risks to this forecast. So उन्होंने बोला 6.54% तक हो जाएगा economic growth. But if you remember that day we had read that the central banks all across the world, all across the globe are actually coming up with the tightening of their monetary policies. Isn't it? They are trying to curb that inflation, so they are making those monetary policies quite in the sense that they are changing the rate of interest and all. So इससे क्या होगा? There would be a downside risk also to this forecast. Forecast कौन सा? कि 6.4% तक हमारी growth होगी. लेकिन globally and domestically, tightening of the monetary policy risks this forecast. That means it could be lower than 6.4. So it will be somewhere around 5 maybe. ये point है यहाँ पे 6.4, right? So now you have understood that there was a advanced estimates है, latest estimates important, incorporate recent data, what is going to be, what is projected, right? And the different sectors that we were talking about in the previous part of the first paragraph, all that included to will come up with the main idea, and that main idea will be it projects the economic growth at 7%. But outlook for the next year is clouded by tightening monetary policy. See, this line was in the end also. Clouded means overshadowed. That means it is not clear. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ 7% होगा लेकिन या 6.6%, 6.4%, लेकिन इसके ऊपर किसके बादल छाए हुए हैं, राइट? क्लाउड्स ऑफ द टाइटनिंग ऑफ द मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. ठीक है, तभी वो शैडो में आ गया है, राइट? सो द ओवरशैडो, इट इज ओवरशैडोड एक्चुअली. एनएसओ ने प्रोजेक्ट तो कर लिया है, लेकिन बात क्लियर नहीं है क्यों, because of the tightening of the monetary policy across the globe. Not many words again today, but yesterday we had quite many words. So it will be actually leveled out. So clouded is troubled, apprehensive, worried. Okay, we had come up with the word clear also. So not clear will be clouded. Hazy, हमने ये एक बार ये वाला वर्ड भी पढ़ा था, hazy and misty, वो भी clouded हो जाएगा. Disaggregated का मतलब हो गया separate, और disaggregated मतलब segregated. Dismal is gloomy, sullen, murky, no hope. Subdued is quiet, right? So not very cheerful. He was in a subdued mood, matlab serious mood tha, unrestrained, unresponsive. At odds with means against someone, being hostile or quarreling with someone. Perking up, you can remember the chocolate perk, and perk would actually liven you up. So lively, cheerful, happy, and jubilant. Downside, of course, you have the problems, issues, disadvantages, limitations, anything that is, this is the downside. Matlab, there are disadvantages that would appear. And forecast, of course, FORE for मतलब पहले आगे before वाला फंडा है, तो forecast यानी पहले से ही बता देना कि क्या होने वाला है. So this is a guess or an estimate, something that is predicted in that sense. राइट? तो फोरकास्ट होता है जैसे वेदर फोरकास्ट, सारी कैलकुलेशंस के साथ होता है. नाउ फोरकास्ट विल नॉट मीन कैलकुलेशन, बट फोरकास्ट वुड मीन दैट इट इज अ गेस बेस्ड ऑन द कैलकुलेशंस, इट इज एन एस्टिमेट. तो गेस, एस्टिमेट और कैलकुलेट का मतलब क्या होता है, राइट? ऑल दिस विल बी इंक्लूडेड इन द सेंस दैट यस, whatever is going to happen in the future and this is the present, so I'll be able to tell all this because I know what has happened in the past. ठीक है, तो पास्ट का पता करके हम उसी पर उसका पैटर्न समझ के और फिर फ्यूचर के बारे में पहले से बता सकते हैं. तो व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इन द प्रेजेंट इज आई एम फोरकास्टिंग द फ्यूचर, right? So in the present times, according to what has happened in the past, you are able to predict something in the future. That is called like forecast, because it is just not your what you feel like. वो नहीं है, prediction वैसा नहीं है. ये है बराबर calculation based, इसीलिए उसे guess और estimate कहते हैं. Right? I hope you have understood this. So this is not a literal meaning. So don't take it as that. कि forecast का मतलब होता है कि calculate करना नहीं. Forecast का मतलब होता है calculation के base पर future guess करना या estimates देना. Right? So I hope you have done this. And apart from this, you have to read the rest of the articles that have been highlighted in the newspaper, in that on the what do you say, in your group for you. So in this particular paper, you have to read all those articles. So thank you and have a logical day ahead.